host, Margaret Stacey, back on Capital Times for the fall. September at the theatre is a quiet month on the calendar. Now the reason for that is because it's a very busy month inside the theatre. And for example, we've had meetings, auditions, production meetings, and Arts Council meetings coming up tomorrow morning to create all the things that are going to go on this year. So it's planning time at the theatre, as is January. For example, the Capitol Theatre Panto auditions were on Sunday. We had 75 students and adults show up to be part of that big fundraiser, which is going on again in September, and it's called Rumpelstiltskin. Also, the Nelson Little Theatre has geared up, and they're going to be doing a show called Cards on the Table, and they've done all their auditions. So, oh, there's more. A group called Skylark Productions is a number of Nelson people doing a play called Skill around the Halloween week, and that one's going to be, that's a new young company, and that one's going to be quite a blockbuster. I believe there's going to be some pyrotechnics, and I haven't read the play yet though. Another thing that's happening is the high school is gearing up for a major production called Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim, and Bruce Hunter and Jeff Burns and the staff and students of LER are going to put on this extravaganza in the year where they're probably going to renovate the school. Why not, eh? So those are the kind of things that are brewing in the theatre. So we have to have planning times and downtimes. And there are also series that have been planned over, it takes a long time to plan a series, maybe 6 or 8 months. And the Capital series, I'm going to give you a little bit of brief run, because that's the first one, close to my heart here. Starts off on October 22nd, a little bit late, with a show called The Wild Guys. You can take a look at that. We have 4 fellas here who I believe are out on a men's awareness weekend in the bush, and things go wrong. Murphy's Law takes over, and well, then anything can happen. But my suggestion in the promotion of this is that you do a Friday night out in the town and go off and see Wild Guys. It's not just for guys. Women can go too. But apparently this is the Arts Club's answer to Angry Housewives, for those of you who saw it. And the second part of that series is Juba from Alberta, but songs from Zimbabwe. So the sound of this 7-member group with African and Canadian voices is quite beautiful. I've heard them, I know. We also have a special connection with an African city in Zimbabwe, Mutare. So we should see some, I haven't organized it yet, but we should see some Zimbabwe display around the theatre. There's one chorus that I loved called Zulu Salia Dama, and it's a beauty. In January, this series continues with Ms. Mozart, Mary Lou Fallis, who used to be, well, she came here as Mrs. Bach right after the Winter Games, and very few people saw her, but the people who did loved her, and so we thought we would bring her back and get her properly looked at. She plays Mozart's sister, Nanurl, and she really wrote it all, of course. Anyway, she's a beautiful soprano and comedian. Doesn't let you go for a second on the stage. The last Capitol Theatre performance is the Danny Grossman Dance Company. I saw these people 11 years ago up at the Civic Theatre, I believe, and it was presented by DTUC at the time. So we're going to see some of the legendary stuff that they performed then, and they've been going strong for 11 years, or probably before that too, and some of their new material. There's this one piece on a horse called Bella. It's a huge Trojan horse painted kind of Laura Ashley colors, and it kind of works like an exercise. Well, they do unusual things on this horse, you know, as a prop that are quite hard to do in the playground, actually. So that's the Capitol Theatre series, and there's also a classical series for those of you who are new to Nelson and don't know about this venerable series, which was established in 1935. The Edinburgh String Quartet is the kickoff on October 24th. Nancy Herbison from Argenta, hometown girl with Rosalind Friend, is coming back to, well, she wouldn't dare come back without doing a concert, I guess. And Guy Few and Alain Trudel. I heard this Guy Few guy. Super trumpet, piano, anything. Also good looking. The Kim duo. Now, I saw Michael Kim performing, and he was wonderful. I understand his sister is equally talented, Helen Kim and Michael Kim. That is the lineup for the Overture Concert Series. And you can get all the tickets for that at the theater. Now, I do have guests today, waiting patiently here. I have Denise Henshaw, my left in blue, and Sue Bradley, beside her. Both represent the Kids Concert Series, and Denise is also on the board of the Capitol Theatre. Oh, I want to ask you to explain your series. Who would like to do this first? Sue? I'll start. Sue?
All right.
Okay. Go for it. You want that, or do you know it off by heart?
Well, I'll keep it here beside me. Our series starts on Saturday, October the 17th, with the Iguanodon Theatre from Edmonton. They are doing a puppet show, a black light puppet theater show. It's called Fish Whiskers. It's a story about friendship and acceptance and understanding of people or creatures that may be different. The puppets that they hold are fluorescent in color. They are large. One of the puppets has 3-foot-long tentacles. It's an octopus. There's also a swim skate, which is 3 feet in diameter.
Is that the bad guy in this picture here? Can I show the picture
I think the octopus is, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
All right.
The octopus is the uncle, and
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Can you describe the characters here, Sue?
I can't remember the
Oh, okay.
But
the bad
this-
guy is the guy with the eyes.
That's right.
Looks
And
like.
this is a sockeye salmon who is the one that is a little different looking and has fallen in, it's a boy meet girl story, has fallen in love with the blue fish.
The pretty
and
fish.
The pretty fish. And I think they're being counseled that it may not be the best match, but they, I think, work it out in the end. I'm not sure.
Good.
I like the bad guy.
Mm-hmm. And he's the one that's 3 feet by 3 feet. They're huge and so colorful and captivating.
It zings around.
It does, that's right.
Sue, they call it a participatory puppet play, and you've seen it. Does that mean they involve the audience in that?
I think at times they will, but when I saw a bit of it there, it was a short
Yeah. Well,
snippet,
I
so-
imagine they must get kids up there to
To glow in the dark.
take
to
care
glow.
of-
That's right.
Maybe put some black light on
I think
it.
we'll have to
right.
probably block out our exit lights for this thing. You can't have any light leaking, because otherwise you see what's
that's right.
going on. But you just never see around the edges of this thing.
No,
you
well-
can't tell where the people start, because you know there are people going around.
Well, every now and then you can catch a glimpse of a creature, not one of these characters, moving as all of the actors or puppeteers are dressed in black from head to toe, as is, I guess, the theater draped. And every now and then you can see some movement, but it's fleeting, and they're awfully good at what they do. It was fantastic to see. Our second show is on Saturday, November the 6th. It's a comeback, a return to Nelson by someone who's been here twice before and has been requested on many occasions. Charlotte Diamond, a favorite children's entertainer. She is coming back to sing from her newest album, which is My Bear Gruff, and that will be an afternoon performance. She's a Juno Award winner and an award-winning children's entertainer.
Needs no introduction
and
around
what else
here,
can
no
I say? It's
problem.
about
think
this
so.
long.
About 6 months ago, people phoned and said, "When is Charlotte coming again?" You know.
Yeah,
so
she's
get
been
that.
on TV many times on Fred Penny's show, has had her own specials, and we're really excited to get her again.
She's also a really nice person.
I was just thinking that she's
Yeah,
the
she is.
nicest lady. Yeah.
That's what all her press reviews say, and everything that's written about her says she's
True.
her personality comes through on stage.
Yeah. What you see is
Yeah.
what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our third performance is something a little different. We try to also educate the young theater goers in Nelson. It's a concert called Harps International from Vancouver.
I'm going to show this picture here, Sue,
Mm-hmm.
because they're harps with a difference.
Mm-hmm. 3 different ones. The one that the fellow is holding is a Peruvian harp. The one that the lady who's seated is holding is a classical, and the one in the back is a Celtic. And they will play selections on the harps, describe them. I think that
See that there? Yeah.
the children will be encouraged at times to come up and
Play harps?
well, there's audience participation, as I think is included percussion instruments that the children could handle.
I have to tell you, this one is going to be hilarious because we have, just prior to this show, I believe the high school is doing an early afternoon production of Into the Woods by Sondheim.
Mm-hmm.
Then they move off, and we have to put the pit back, because there'll be an orchestra pit, put the orchestra pit back, and then on go the harps in the afternoon, and then the high school's decided to do a 9 o'clock show to accommodate the harps 7 o'clock show. So we're running sort of a triple header that day.
Oh, the theater staff will be busy.
And the theater staff will be going crazy, but the high school people figure this might be kind of a neat thing to wind up with, so they can run their people go on out for dinner, come on back for a later show. So they will have had earlier shows. So it's all going to work out. But this pit we have is fun. So we'll see.
But we're really looking forward to having them.
Yeah.
And,
apparently they're very humorous as well, and as well as being excellent musicians.
That's right.
So kids really relate well to humor. And
the main harpist is this guy, eh?
His name is Mike, and he's got when we saw him, Margaret, he had a cowboy hat on and
Mike
cowboy
Absalom,
boots.
yeah.
That's right.
It says at the back here.
And
he's playing a Paraguayan harp.
that's right.
Okay. The kind of stuff they do on the back of this.
that's the adult show that is on that. Yeah, but
It will be just
pieces of it, but they make
pieces
it
of
fun.
that. That's right.
Yeah.
Who'd have
Audience
thought, eh?
participation.
This town likes harps. All levels like harps. We've had
Lorena
Harps
McKenna.
International and Lorena McKenna.
Yeah, we expect that one to be excellent too.
So your last show?
Our last show is in April, another Sunday performance in the afternoon on April the 10th. David Cates and Ann Glover. They are a storytelling duo. David accompanies Anne, who is the storyteller. David has been active in French as a second language for years in the musical side of it. And Anne has had extensive experience with storytelling. And they've gotten together and are doing a piece called The Adventures of Turtle and Spider, which is, I believe, derived from folklore. And Anne is a master storyteller. She uses also sign language in her telling of the tale. And
string as well, I think.
String puppets
string
or creatures
puppets.
and we're really looking forward. All reviews and accounts we've heard from neighboring towns have been that you can hear a pin drop in the audience.
David has a strong connection here, you know. He lives on Hornby Island, but he has this really neat 11-year-old daughter, Avia, who came proudly into the theater the other day. That's my dad.
Oh,
and he's coming to Nelson. So he's wanted to come and perform.
It's nice to be able to bring him in.
Yeah, it's nice to find that connection. You know, there shows, you know, you'd be surprised how many times you can find a connection with the performers coming through, and quite outside your selection process and your program committee and all that sort of stuff. And then you find that, oh, this person's dad lives in town or something. It's very, very odd. But it happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, they sound really interesting, and all the music that goes along with the story is especially composed by David Cates. So for that story, so that's going to be interesting. It's always interesting to see original music.
Was it hard to choose these things?
There are always there are always so many acts to choose from that are of such high quality, and that's what we strive for in our series. And it takes a while.
There are a lot of children's performers out there, and I think everybody's realized there's a great big market in children's entertainment, and they want to get into it. But you've got to separate what's great from what's
That's true.
growing, shall I say?
And we try not to repeat the same sort of show the next year. If we do juggling one year, we'll wait for a couple of years, or if it's mime, we'll wait.
Which
Oh, you're not
because
going to
there's
bring the
always.
Gizmo guys back?
Oh, I'm not saying that. I love
guys
them
are
too.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good series.
Yes. So we're really excited about the series, and we urge people to buy their tickets right away.
You can get all the tickets at the theater. I know because they brought them in.
Yeah.
I've got tickets everywhere in the office in piles.
Yeah.
So I need to sell them all.
Speaking to your question, Marg, of you know how difficult it is to choose these acts, the Kids Concert Series has been an organization now for 6 years. So each year we feel like we get a little bit better handle on what's out there and what the audience likes. So and last year we did a little survey and found out just what were the favorite performances in the last 6 years. For every year we've had 4, except for 1 year we had 5. So every year we look at the past year and see how that went down with our audience. We look at what's out there, and it seems like, don't you think, Sue, every year we get just a little bit more experienced and able to figure out what might sell.
Do you have sort of a policy like the Capitol does to have one of the pieces be a little bit of a stretch or a risk or a brave new piece or something like that?
I think there's always something that we're,
Yes, like last year we weren't sure about the opera. We brought in the Hansel and Gretel, Vancouver Opera,
no problem.
and that was one we just weren't sure. Is this going to be accepted by children or is it not? And we found out it is.
Oh yes.
And the harps is another one. I think that is a bit of a stretch, and I think that kids will rise to the occasion.
Fun with harps.
Yeah.
I think it's important to show them that there are so many different disciplines within this whole world of theater that we should try and include all of them if we can.
You can go back to the winners all the time, you know, and you can make money and keep propagating your series and stuff like that. But it takes a leap of faith to do those brave bits.
Yeah. Well, part of the reason why we're in existence really is to introduce kids to the arts and all the different varying performances in the arts and get them used to coming to the theater, seeing things so that they'll be just enjoying these. It adds to their...
Creating the cultural habit, I always say.
Exactly how you always put it, yes.
When we do the summer theater programs, it's not so much to make actors out of all these kids, it's to get them feeling very comfortable in the environment. And it's not for the greater glory of theater, sure enough. It's that's one of the healthiest places to get together, actually. It's one of those places where you don't know what's going to happen next, but you feel secure in that it's not going to hurt you. And it's something you can do long after your athletic days are over.
That's right.
And so
Yeah, it's a really good hobby.
Enriching kind of experience. I always get talking in these kind of terms when people try to get me to justify our existence. But anyway, it's the only kind of words you're able to use.
Yeah.
Because, well, I won't get into how theater makes money because it doesn't particularly, but it tries.
And we haven't mentioned our price.
Well, that's your
That's
price.
important because
Show
we
me your
are
prices.
non-profit, so we try to keep all costs down as much as possible. All of us are volunteer people, and we try to keep all costs as low as possible so that everybody can afford to go, if at all possible. So as long as the ticket sales, we try to make the ticket sales pay for the costs of the performances.
$24 for an extraordinary series like that is really good.
It is.
$6 to see Charlotte Diamond? I don't think so. You can't do better than that. And believe me, I know they drive hard bargains because I'm often on the other side of the renting fence with this, so I know they work really hard at these series and to make it work for their constituency. Prices, I should tell you prices on the other series while we're talking price. The Overture series has a $38 early bird special before October the 24th, before the first show, but the season tickets is $40 for adults. Students are 12, and but if you go and buy a single performance, it gets a lot more expensive. It costs $16 for an adult and $5 each per student. So that
Very much of a bargain too, the overture concert. I mean, a ticket for Nancy Argenta would be alone.
Classical music given away.
Yeah.
That's incredible. For the quality of work, I think I've got a fix on quality now, having seen countless showcases and things like that. I'm really proud of the series we put in here, because I find that some other communities, they don't know how to hear, or they don't know how to judge or select or something like that, and they have the most uneven and oddly balanced series. This is a winner. And then, of course, I can't blow my horn too much here, but the Capital one, we have an always oddly imbalanced series, because we try to select from disciplines of dance, dance, music, and theater, and something else, which is really a hard one to do. Also, it's the most expensive type of performance conceivable. Theater, dance, impossible, because you're moving huge companies and huge sets and things like that. So the series package on this one is $60. Again, a bargain at that, because when you think about trying to go to theater in Vancouver, anybody tried it lately? $60 for 4 shows, including the Arts Club Theater, Danny Grossman. Danny Grossman being the leading Canadian dance company, that's all there is to it. So the single tickets for those will cost $20, also still a bargain, but a better deal and the seats are all reserved, and you get advanced selection and all that. This is the only series in which the seats are reserved. We have tried to encourage people to use it, but the reserved seating thing, it might take a few more years to get everybody at it, but the Capital does it for its series. Now,
the Arts Club performances have been requested a lot by
do you know they had to put on a special, they were going to send their cast touring, but it was so much in demand in Vancouver that they kept the same cast on in Vancouver, and they're building a huge touring set, and they're running another touring cast.
Is that right?
So, well, again, all the Arts Club employees, you know, the actors from the Arts Club, both great. Sometimes they even come from Nelson.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of this show, The Wild Guys, it's on Broadway, I think. I've heard of it being very popular.
Yeah,
but it's new.
The perfect show for a great evening, and they always do a great job. What I like about the Arts Club are their sets. They always come with extraordinary technical sets. Marcia Simthorpe's lighting is something that we all learn from, and when their huge crew comes in, they're beautifully packaged materials. It's a real teaching experience for the technicians and young technicians of our town to be able to work with them. So we had a backstage bonus as well with these people, because they're superbly organized. So that's what the series lineup is. I want you to explain to me now Lois Walker's Especially for Kids show is not part of the series.
No.
I just want to make that really clear, because that's quite a different act. Lois Walker has a TV show, and she and Herb Walker years ago did great stuff with the kids of Nelson, and some of those kids are very grown up now and will remember it, and they have many old friends here, and I'm glad they're finally bringing the performance they've developed for kids. Lois Walker does puppetry with rescued material from recycled puppets and things like that. Now, not having any more tiny tots in my house, I have not seen the show. You know how you get to watch TV, you know, with the kids. So but I've heard about it. So this is for very, very small kids, I think. And it'd be nice to see the Walkers back. Sherry Ulrich, another old favorite, reminding you too. She's coming to work, not just to perform, but to work with Selkirk Music School students. So the connections are forged outside just the theater audience in many cases.
When will that be, Mark?
That's October the 15th. Oh, and something else is happening. Another local first. You know, Charles and Audrey Bissett, Jack and Audrey Bissett, they're going to do an evening concert. These two people, the voices of these two people, you don't hear them that often because they bring their students in for recital, and you don't hear Chuck and Audrey do their thing, but they live up in Silverton, and they've been trained at the best institutions in the States, and I think Audrey is a graduate of Peabody and stuff like that. So anyway, Charles has a voice you can hear 3 blocks away if he wants to pitch it out,
They are going to do an evening of selections, including, I understand, opera. So
Coming up in October.
coming
as well.
up
Great.
in October, precise date. Look at the Capitol calendar. We've got mountains of calendars we're cranking out today and tomorrow. Please drop in, say hello, pick up your tickets, and don't forget your calendar, or phone in if you can't do all that. Phone number is 352-6363. So, I want to thank you both for coming.
You're welcome.
I'm
Thanks
talking
for
about-
having us on again. We're really happy.
About kids, which is my favorite topic, as usual. It's the only topic I've had all summer with kids theater. Thanks very much, and see you at the theater.